The Ready Set Grow podcast is sponsored by Ag Expert, software designed for Canadian agriculture. Visit them today at agexpert.ca.
Good morning. I'm Joe Dales, one of the co-founders of RH Accelerator, and welcome to today's version of Ready Set Grow podcast, where we interview leaders in the agriculture and food sector and talk about some interesting topics. Today we have a terrific couple guests and a really cool announcement that they're going to make. Reg Ash is the CEO of the Western Fair Association in London, Ontario. Hi, Reg.
Hi, Joe.
And Kapil Lakhotia is the president of the London Economic Development Corporation. Welcome, Kapil, and love the backdrop there, Field of Dreams.
Hi, Joe. Thanks for having me.
So today, guys, we're going to start off. Reg, can you take a few minutes and just introduce yourself to the people and then talk a little bit about Western Fair for the people that don't know a little bit about its history and its operations?
Sure, thanks. My name is Reg Ash, as Joe mentioned, and I've been working with the Western Fair Association for just shy of 20 years. Grew up in a rural town in Bruce County, Ontario. Moved to the big city of London.
You have to name it now.
Oh, Chesley. Moved to the big city of London in 1989 to pursue university, and have been associated with London for every year since. Worked here in private rec facilities, moved away for 7 years, lived in Chatham, came back to Western Fair in 2001 to open up their sports center. And the rest, as I say, is history. I've held many different roles inside the organization, so understand every aspect of what it is that we do. The Western Fair Association, for anyone who is not familiar with us, we are one of Canada's oldest and I'd say Ontario's largest ag societies, and we've been in existence since 1867. We're on our way to becoming the leader of Canadian ag societies, and our goal will be to be the leading ag society in the world. So,
yeah, it's terrific. I think everybody in Ontario, of course, knows the Western Fair Farm Show, which is unfortunately canceled this year. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about the scope of the operations, because you do have a magnificent footprint in the middle of the city of London?
Yeah, many people, when they think of an ag society, they think of the fair, and we've been running a fair for as long as we've been in existence. And on top of that, we run harness horse track, the raceway at Western Fair District, which has been a full-time operation since the early 60s. We run several trade and consumer shows and host many others. And Joe, you mentioned one of them, the Farm Show, which has been operating for about 8 decades. The Poultry Show that we run in partnership with the Poultry Industry Council of Ontario, and it's been operating for several decades. So those are two of the big ag-focused ones that we operate. We also run a 4-pad arena complex in partnership with the City of London, and it's been operating for 20 years. We own and operate the Western Fair Farmers Market. So it's a collection of artisan vendors and food-related companies that operate inside of the market on a weekend basis right now, and it's been operating for, I would say, about a decade. It's probably a little bit longer. You lose a little bit of track on some of the milestones of when things happen, but it's certainly a going concern. So those are the primary activities of what we do, and we recently announced the launch of the Grove at Western Fair District, which is bound to be our next touch point in agriculture, and it's designed to be an accelerator for agri-food and ag tech companies.
That's great. We'll come back to that a little bit later. Kapil, you have a very interesting job in the City of London. Do you mind introducing yourself and tell us a little bit about LEDC and what you guys do?
Sure, would love to. Thank you for the opportunity. So, Kapil Lakhotia, I'm the president of London Economic Development Corporation. Like Joe mentioned earlier, our organization is responsible for attracting new jobs and investments in areas of advanced manufacturing, food and beverage, digital creative, as well as healthcare. We also support entrepreneurial activities and creating more innovation and excitement in all of these areas. So within agri-food, because that's what we're talking about today, we like to say that as one of Canada's best locations for food and beverage processing, London has all the right ingredients for agri-food business. Our cluster of over 90 companies involved in various areas of food and beverage processing employ more than 7,000 people across the region. And that's the job of LEDC, to make sure that this sector stays vibrant and healthy, as well as continue to market London for new investments. Over the last several years, we've been successful in attracting global companies like Maple Leaf Foods, which is building the largest and technically most proficient poultry processing facility in all of Canada. That construction is currently underway, and when that plant will be ready in about a year or so, it will employ over 1,600 people. So we're very proud to have attracted Maple Leaf Foods to London. Some of the other companies that we have attracted to the region in the last several years include a German company, Dr. Oetker, which is one of the leading food and beverage companies across the world. And it set up its first North American frozen pizza processing plant in London, along with a host of other leading names such as Labatt, Nestle, McCormick, Original Cakery, and the list goes on and on.
We're going to have try to get Mohammed on from Aspire Foods and taste some of his new food company's offerings. Do you want to? Yeah. You want to just give a quick plug for Aspire?
Sure. So get a vegetarian to introduce Aspire Food Groups. So Aspire Food Group is a very innovative food company that we were able to attract to London last year. It's let me see if I can get this right. It's building the world's largest food-grade automated cricket processing facility in London, Ontario. So this is a form of sustainable alternative proteins that's gaining popularity across the planet, and Aspire Food Groups is at the leading edge of this. So they've bought some industrial land from us in the City of London and are in the process of building their first automated production facility. So we're very excited to have an innovative company like Aspire Food Group join our cluster.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, if you're from Western Canada, London's in Middlesex County, surrounded by southwestern Ontario, which is really one of the best farming areas in the country. We have great farmers, tremendous soils, and close proximity to markets. So we grow everything, including crickets now in the region. So look forward to that one. You guys, we have some exciting news today to share. So tell us a little bit about the project that you're working on that's being announced this week.
So I can start it up, and Reg can take it from there. Basically, as I mentioned earlier, we've had a historical track record of a successful and strong food cluster. In recent years, we've been able to attract a number of these large companies. So clearly, we needed to do more in terms of creating the right infrastructure, business support climate, and the type of things that would lead to organic growth, more startup and scale up activities within this food environment to make that circle whole. So that's where we partnered with the Western Fair Association and a number of other players locally, which we'll get to shortly, I'm sure, to work on this very exciting Grove project. So I won't steal Reg's thunder, but with that kind of preamble, I think you could see where this project is going.
Bill.
Yeah, go ahead, Reg.
Yeah. So it was, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago. A recent retired colleague of mine, Mike Woods, had come back from a meeting with Kapil and his team, and they were just like so ecstatic about the opportunity that was in front of us, and Kapil and his team had described to him. And I listened with a lot of excitement as well as they described the potential. And we worked at it. We assembled the right team with the right sort of composition and outcomes that we submitted to FedDev for consideration. And today we announced that our project that we submitted funding for, along with 4 other collaborators, was approved in full for $7.2 million to kickstart the development of the Grove at Western Fair District. And as I mentioned, it's designed to be an accelerator for agri-food companies. And as Kapil was mentioning, it's looking to take the smallest of startups all the way through to the point where they leave the Grove and acquire their own property or building someday and become one of those leading companies, headquartered right here in London, Ontario. So that's the ambitious target, but we're well on our way to do it. Western Fair announced the Grove in October of 2019, which seems so long ago, but yet is not that far back in memory. And with it, we announced our first tenant, which is Live Fit Foods, and they are occupying about 30,000 square feet of one of our buildings. And we have inside of the rest of our facilities well over $100,000 that 100,000 square feet that we will allocate to agri-food, ag tech companies to help accelerate, incubate, and see where this agri-food, ag tech can take us.
Yeah, no, it's terrific. We're really excited. RH Accelerators happy to be one of the groups partnering in with this. So how can people get more information? Is there a website, Reg? I'm sure this will be in the media a fair bit, but let's just say I'm interested in a physical location there and taking advantage of some of these increased resources. How would I connect with you guys?
Sure. Easiest way, Joe, is to visit thegrovewfd.com and check out the information there, which will include a spot if you're looking to get into the Grove to fill out a request to participate, and it'll forward the information off, it'll get reviewed, and we'll be in touch.
And Kapil, how can people connect up with LEDC?
Same thing, ledc.com is the starting point, and there's a tab for agri-food that lists some of the details we've just talked about. We'll also plan to put collateral materials on this site that includes floor plans, news and events around upcoming food and beverage seminars, podcasts, webinars, things that people might be interested in. We should also stress, Joe, this is not just about a facility and infrastructure for food companies. This is a wrap around support ecosystem where collaborators such as yourself at the Roundhouse Accelerator are coming together to offer mentorship, capital, and resources to founders. We have the Small Business Center that's providing early stage training programs to budding food entrepreneurs. We've been running programs with the Small Business Center over the last 4 years. We call them From Recipe to Reality, as well as how to scale up a growing food business. As Reg mentioned, there are a number of food entrepreneurs who are already at his Western Fair market. And these are artisanal companies that are selling their wares at the farmers market and doing quite well. But in order for them to achieve scale and export their product into new markets, they need different type of wraparound support. So that's where some of this ecosystem comes in. I should also mention we're working with the London Training Center to develop a skills base of talent that's ready to work in this growing food and beverage environment. And then partners at both Western and Fanshawe that are also coming together with their expertise in R&D and commercialization. So those are the things we have thought about in order to wrap ourselves around this food sector and really think of novel ways of supporting not just early stage companies, but also companies that have been in existence for the last couple of years, but require scale up support.
Yeah, no, I think that's the exciting component here as well is that this is community-based, and we have tremendous firepower, everyone from, Western and Fanshawe to the industry. And so I think it's pretty exciting that, LEDC and Western Fair have stepped up to drive this new initiative. And yeah, RH Accelerator's delighted to be involved in this, and yeah, we're looking forward to good things. So people can get a hold of you guys on your websites if they want further information. They should be able to find it just by searching. Any last words or any last thoughts, Kapil, and then I'll let Reg close this off.
All I would say is we've been nationally recognized as a test market city. London has had a host of different food and beverage products that have been tested here first before a national launch. This includes major brands such as Tim Hortons and McDonald's and Blackfly Beverages that are testing different things here. I would encourage food entrepreneurs, food and beverage companies of no matter what scale or size, to check out our ecosystem. From ideation all the way to large facilities such as Maple Leaf Foods. We're really developing a healthy ecosystem of food companies. This is a place to be. If you're in the food and beverage industry, processing, technology, skills, any of these different things within the food environment, you got to check out London and put us on the map.
Perfect. Reg?
I don't know how I top that, but Kapil, you really nailed it. That's exactly what we're looking for. Joe, you mentioned that it's community, and it is. We are really proud of the business that will come through the Grove that are London grown, but we're quite open to investment and attracting companies from all across Southern Ontario. This is a really regional play for us. For the contribution of FedDev, we're looking to service all of Southern Ontario in this development, and I'm quite convinced that we'll make it.
Yeah, it's very exciting. We're really looking forward to this as well, and I think leveraging the strengths of the local community and ecosystem, and then leveraging up technology going forward. It's going to be really interesting to put London on the agri-food innovation map. So thanks for joining me today, guys, and for all the listeners of the Ready Set Grow podcast, we want to thank Farm Credit Canada Ag Expert, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.